guys, I have a little story that I want to tell you guys. Little bit of a strange one. A lot of you probably ain't gonna believe me, but while those are brazing just a little bit, I'm gonna let them do their thing and tell you guys a story. Now, this story took place almost 150 years ago. A very strange thing happened here in Kentucky. And I don't mean normal strange, you know, like things that normally happen here. Have you guys ever heard of a movie, a kid's movie, you know, children's movie called Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs? Well, the real life version happened near Olympia Springs in Bath County, Kentucky on March 3rd, 1876. A farmer's wife, simply called Mrs. Crouch, was making soap on her porch when she reported seeing a piece of meat fall from the sky. She said she was 40 steps from her house when the meat started to slap the ground. In her own words, she explained her experience to reporters. Between 11 and 12 o'clock, I was in my yard, not more than 40 steps from the house. There was a light wind coming from the west, but the sky was clear and the sun was shining brightly. Without any prelude or warning of any kind, and exactly under those circumstances, the shower commenced. Now, this was not just any shower, but a shower of fresh, raw meat. Some lumps as light as a snowflake, and some that reached up to 3 inches in length. For several minutes, Mrs. Crouch and her husband Alan watched as the unusual downpour fell all around them before it finally ceased, leaving the sky as clear and sunny as it had been before. Immediately, the Crouches believed that the meat shower had either been a miracle from God or a grisly warning from Him. Before long, word of the meat shower had spread, bringing flocks of curious neighbors to the scene. In the end, an area about 100 yards long and about 50 yards wide, the size of a football field, had been left covered in small chunks of raw meat. It was found on the fences, on the farmhouse, and scattered all across the ground. The overall consensus seemed to be that the meat was beef, as it was similar in color and had a similar smell. However, a local hunter disagreed, claiming that the uncommonly greasy feel of the meat most likely resembled that of a bear. To end the debate once and for all, a few brave men, skilled in hunting, it says, took it upon themselves to taste a few pieces. Their official decision was that, by taste alone, the meat had to be either venison or mutton. Unsatisfied with 3 conflicting opinions, a local butcher also took a bite. According to him, however, the meat was none of the above, claiming it tasted neither like flesh, fish, or fowl. Now, let me stir a little bit here. Yeah, I want to braise it a little bit, get a good sear on it. Once I get me a sear, I'm going to simmer it in that with some beef stew stock and some beef stew seasoning mix. I figure about a teaspoon ought to do it. Anyway, okay, we're good for now. Finally, town authorities decided it was time to get an official ruling on what exactly had fallen from the sky. So they collected samples and wrapped them up and sent them to chemists and universities all across America. One chemist from Louisville, Kentucky, deduced that the sample was indeed, as one of the hunters had suggested, mutton. Another one disagreed, stating that while it certainly was meat, it definitely was not mutton. Eventually, scientists gave up on the what and focused on the more concerning where and how. If it was, in fact, meat, how did it fall from the sky? And more importantly, how did it get up there in the first place? One of the scientists of the day decided that the meat was likely the result of a meteor shower, or a meteor, get it? Shower, if you will. According to the theory put forth by the astronomer, an enormous belt of meteoric stones consistently revolves around the sun, and when the Earth comes in contact with this belt, she is soundly pelted, wrote William Livingston Alden, a New York Times writer. Similarly, we may suppose that there revolves around the sun a belt of venison, mutton, and other meats, divided into small fragments, which are then predicated upon the earth whenever it crosses their path. I'm sorry. In addition, he offered a more macabre theory, suggesting that the meat was actually flesh of finely hashed citizens of Kentucky. Y'all Googling this right now, ain't you? Who had been caught in a whirlwind while engaging in a little difficulty with bowie knives and strewn over their astonished state. One scientist, Leopold Brandes, wrote an article in which he acclaimed the event was simply a shower of Gnostic, a genus of cyanobacteria which takes a jelly-like appearance when it comes in contact with rain. His theory was that it simply bloomed on the ground and that whatever fell from the sky was simply a normal rain shower. But both of the more scientific theories for the Kentucky meat shower were later shunned after a more likely but equally unfathomable theory came to light. Both of the Couches, a chemist named Robert Peter and the chemist from Louisville, Kentucky, all put forth the theory that the Kentucky meat shower was a flock of vultures vomiting simultaneously after feasting themselves more abundantly than wisely. Hang on, let me give it a start. This is fun, y'all. Oh my God. Don't keep going. You're doing great. I am informed that it is not uncommon for buzzards to thus disgorge their overcharged stomachs, one chemist wrote, and that when one in a flock commences the relief operation, the others are excited to nausea, and a general shower of half-digested meat takes place. Vultures don't typically vomit from feeling sick because their stomachs are super acidic, which allows them to digest all sorts of gross stuff that they love to eat, like partially decayed carcasses. But vultures tend to gorge themselves when they eat because they don't know when they'll get their next meal. This means they have to sit and digest for a while after eating. But if something startles them and they need to get airborne quickly, they have been known to vomit to lighten the load. They'll even vomit in the air as they're taking off if they have to. So, everyone decided a group of startled, recently fed vultures all vomited at once. Scientists added that the state of the meat and the kind of tissue found in it would also make sense for a vulture's diet. It's not at all like it was ran through a meat slicer, so it's different sizes and torn pieces, and that does make sense, Goad said. And it also makes sense because scientists who had later looked at it under a microscope didn't even venture a guess as to what animal it came from, but they noticed that there was cartilage and lung tissue. It sounds like something from a horror film, but the truth about this story, the most horrifying thing, is that a bunch of people most likely ate chunks of vulture vomit trying to figure out what it was. That's a lot of vulture vomit, y'all. So, what do you think? Did they just give up on trying to figure out what happened? While you guys think about that, I'm gonna keep working on my dinner. Y'all Googling the hell out of that right now, ain't you? Neater, told you it's true. Nobody knows. I mean, could you imagine the size of a football field, guys, covered with various sizes of chunks of meat, some as thin as a snowflake and some little strips, and it's just completely covering a football field sized area. I'm gonna get off here. I'm gonna get back to work, or I ain't gonna get no dinner ready. We'll see y'all in a minute. Give it all a few minutes. How delicious does that look? What do y'all think? Hang on. Trying not to dump it out and show it to you at the same time. Got some bread too. The broth is really thick. It looks really good. It's still hot, so I may regret this. Not waiting a little bit longer. And we'll see, won't we? I just want to try the broth. That is just like, it is really good. It is really good. That is like wholesome goodness, and you're eating it. It's very good. The broth is out of this world. Piece of the beef. Sorry, yeah, I was going with it. It just melts, disintegrates in your mouth. It's super, super tender. Just melts in your mouth. Pristine as it is. See a snake. Go across the river. Big snake. Right there. Looks like he's about 10-20 feet from the other side. Big snake. Just cruising down the river. It's a good sign. Anyway, alright. I'm going to sit down and finish my dinner before a fly gets it, or an ant. Get out of there, ant. And here in a little while I'll load up. It's about fishing time. That is like perfect eating size. Look at that. Okay, we're going all the way this time. And I threw him right up on top of my sunglasses. Look at that. He's about 2 foot. Okay. It's about a foot. I guess he's about 18 inches. 18, 20 inches, something like that. Nice fish. If I was keeping them, that'd be a keeper right there for sure. That's a good one. Alright, first blood. I'm gonna cut him loose here, put him back in. I think I'll remember quite a bit of stuff about this little camping trip. This was a good one. And then the big catfish and all this back here at the campground, you know, last night hanging out by the fire. I mean, just watching movies and hanging out by a little campfire, and it just unbelievably, I mean, it's like 60 degrees out, 65, but I mean, just unbelievably cozy, you know, by the fire, you know, just really warm and really soaking it up. It was really nice. It really was nice. They say that, you know, it's a good way to get your head right. I can see why. I can certainly see why. That's just about one of the most relaxing things I believe you possibly can do. You know, go camping and just kick back by a fire and relax. I mean, you know, that probably beats sitting on a couch, you know, relaxing, watching TV, I would think. Of course, it's kind of nice to sit on the couch and watch TV too, sometimes. I got my rain gear. I broke the gear out. I'm good to go. I'm pretty much immune to rain. I've used this setup countless trail tours in the UTV. And got 14,000 miles on it. Well, almost 15. A lot of trail riding. But anyway, guys, I hope y'all enjoyed my little video, little Leo's day off. You know, hope y'all enjoyed it. Hope it made you grin just a little bit at some point. And we appreciate y'all watching very much. So thank you very much, and you guys have a really good day, and we will see you next time. Leo out.